Sound is off. So yeah,
All right.
ready this time.
Don't answer your phone on a podcast.
Shut up. No, but you gotta admit, every time you see a podcast have someone answer their phone, it's kind of funny.
Usually not 10 seconds in, though.
You know. Anyways, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to AC Productions. My name's Casey Baker. Who are you?
My name is Billy.
Hi. So here on AC Productions, we're gonna start doing a few different types of content, starting with some podcasting. With this, every week we're going to try to talk about various different subjects about anime, things we've seen over the week, things we're looking forward to as new seasons come up, as we're getting there. But this week we want to talk a little bit about Dragon Ball Z. I've been watching for a long time. Billy, how long have you been watching?
I've been watching for about 6 months.
Right? 6 months.
Just started into it.
And recently we also just went to go see the Dragon Ball Z movie. What is it called? The one with Broly.
Broly, the legendary Saiyan.
Right, legendary Saiyan. I never remember that one. So we're just gonna start real quick about like, what do you think about Dragon Ball Z so far as someone who's brand new to like this whole sphere of.
Yeah. So, starting it is odd because there's a lot of tropes definitely came from Dragon Ball Z. Of like you'd look at something and be like, oh, that joke is a lot older than I thought it would be.
Right.
So it's cool to start it. It's a nice, easy watching show. So it's always good for a background to just power through.
Right.
The movie, though, like for the Broly movie, that was a little unexpected and not entirely what I thought of an anime movie. But also a lot of tropes came from that anime movie, I see.
Right. So what's kind of funny is the fact that when I was first watching it, like I watched it early 2000s, late 1990s, when it was first coming out, being dubbed here in English on Cartoon Network / Toonami, depending on when they decided to place it, whether it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 8 at night. Like, I've been watching it a while. Like, me and my cousin Jason used to have, like, the VHSs and, like, the original first comic books. And it was, like, 15, 20 page of each chapter kind of comic book. So, like, we've been in it for a while. So I'm curious to see like what all you really thought about the series as a whole, seeing as it first aired in April 2006 or April 26th, 1989, not 2006, nowhere near that.
Nowhere near that. The series as a whole, I'm not done with it. I think I'm in the last arc of it.
I think you are. Where are you at?
I'm right at Majin Buu.
Right. So right now when Gohan's like all grown up.
Yeah.
Gohan is Mr. Saiyan Man.
Yeah, Saiyan Man.
It's fucking
and
hilarious.
They're at the tournament. Probably the last tournament of the series because it totally failed.
Right.
That's right where I'm at.
Right.
But I played the Xenoverse games before I actually watched the show.
Oh.
So I'm kind of like weirdly filling in gaps, and the point of the Xenoverse games was to change those, so it's all still kind of new to me.
Gotcha. So you like have a little bit of like an inkling as to what's happening here and there.
Right.
But I guess does it feel more connected now that you're watching it as a show versus like a video game where it's like I'll jump through the cutscenes, press A like 24 times just so I don't have to hear someone complain about powering up?
The video game made no sense. Not at all. So like it's it's totally fresh to me.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've never played that video game outside of like testing it at Best Buy, on those little test Xboxes, and like I can never get into it between the flying and the combat and trying to do that whole 360. I couldn't do it.
It's a lot of fun, but it's difficult. It was one that I could play because it's more of a game and less of playing a story.
Right.
But it's a game that you should play for the story.
Gotcha.
But to where Broly comes into that, the Broly movie was kind of weird after playing the game because I've seen a lot of Broly, and what I saw in that Broly movie made absolutely no sense.
Right. So it's kind of weird, even as a kid watching that for the first time, because they're the Broly, the movies in general for Dragon Ball Z are so like one-off, kind of like how the Pokemon movies per se are like their own encapsulated events.
Right.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint when things should be happening. So like, I think
that was difficult.
We talked about it as we were watching it a little bit. Like,
yeah. So I broke down where it should be and where
Right.
it's definitely not.
Okay, so based on where, what are you thinking? Like, where is it?
So in the Broly series, it starts with Gohan or Goku being alive for one, but
Right.
Gohan having his hair cut and still in his Piccolo outfit, and Future Trunks still in the scene with his long hair.
Right.
So it takes place somewhere after the hyperbolic time chamber, and then right before starting Cell, which was maybe a day.
Which is kind of a weird time to have them like go on this intergalactic adventure and having Krillin and drunk Master Roshi
Yeah,
around. It's
yeah,
kind of weird thinking about it. Like as a kid, like I didn't think about when it actually should be because you're just watching it on television and you're freaking out. Like, hey, there's a third Super Saiyan, but he's green. It's
yeah.
kind of a weird like. What did you think when you first saw Broly like in the movie? Like,
In
what
the
were your
movie,
thoughts like as them introducing the character? Because like for me, uh, it always felt a little weird because they first perceive him as this like shy, quiet, reserved dude, but like no character traits at all, and then all of a sudden he's the main antagonist of I'm going to fuck up the world.
yeah, it was odd. The pacing for Broly's backstory never really makes sense, but I kind of already knew that because I know this isn't like the end of Broly, so like there's more. He's got a lot of shit to get through.
Yeah,
But
there's actually
for when they introduce him, it doesn't really make sense because Vegeta walks up to him and he's like, "Oh, I can't be this guy. He's a twig." I don't know about you, but like Broly's ripped to shit.
yeah, it's kind of funny. Like
He's
if
huge.
he's shirtless in a weird pair of pants, all decked out in jewelry,
He's 2 feet taller than Vegeta.
and he's a twig.
He's a twig.
It's kind of funny because at the same time, like after Vegeta figures out what's happening, he he freaks out and is just like, I can't handle the world. I don't. You're right. As I think about it more now as an adult, it's kind of weird how Vegeta is just kind of a wimp.
Yeah, they paint Vegeta really weird in that movie, especially because of all the shit he went through to be a Super Saiyan for this fight and everything he went through with like Trunks. So it's weird that he kind of like where they put him is his personality matched more with uh, Frieza's arc, but he's definitely in the area of Cell because Trunks is there.
Right, because during the Frieza arc,
He's a bitch.
he's more of a like I don't have overwhelming strength like I thought I should, and I already know that this character can slap the shit out of me.
Well, and especially when he learns about Goku being Super Saiyan.
Right,
He's
and it's
just
like,
awful.
but between like the Frieza arc all the way up through Cell, Android, and to Broly, you would think at this he's painted much more as a grizzled like
Yeah,
I'm ready to,
when
to
he's
do shit.
as soon as he's out of the chamber with Trunks, he is just arrogant.
Right,
Like he's ready to just take on Cell, and he does all right. Like,
it's kind of funny. Uh, yeah,
but so from there, not from it just being in a weird space and the characters being weird, but like the pacing of that movie
it's
is
very
just
strange
weird.
because we go into like we must find this legendary Super Saiyan, only to find out, and the audience, I'm sure 9 times out of 10 is like, he's like 5 feet from you. How you gonna be stupid? And then we just dive into, oh, Broly's mad. Okay. Oh, the comet's here. Okay. And they're safe, and we don't know where Broly goes.
Well, the comet part I get. That's the hidden trap that Broly's father makes.
True,
But
but at the same time, it's like they the duration of how far it is away always feels like skewed. Like very beginning of the movie, it's like thousands of
nobody can see it
lights,
coming
like no
for some
one's
reason.
coming, even though it's supposed to be like bigger than this planet. But then all of a sudden, it's here, and by all means, once that comes into that gravitational field, the planet should just be gone.
Well, and also for a show that talks so much about power levels, nobody can tell that Broly is really strong. Nobody.
Hey, I mean, we have characters who can hide their power levels, Billy.
Right, but like
everything
Broly is
on
one of
Earth.
them. Broly's clearly the best at that.
Yeah, you know, there's, there's only so much that can happen there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, kind of going forward, there's one other movie that was created way back where you get to see Bio Broly.
Bio Broly.
So, after, I don't even know when that one falls in the timeline, but it's where people are trying to take like Broly's cells or whatnot and trying to recreate him, and he becomes a giant sludge monster, kind of like No Face from Spirited Away,
All right.
and it's kind of ridiculous. But they're also making a new Broly movie for Dragon Ball Super,
I saw that.
and
I got an ad for that
he
actually.
doesn't look like a muck.
Okay, but for the pacing,
Yeah,
something that's gonna like really irk me
yeah,
is like when they're in their fight and like Gohan has to lose because he has to seem more powerful when he's in the cell fight. I get that.
right.
Um, like Vegeta and Goku can't do anything to him, so then they came up with
Nothing.
this new mechanic of let's lend Goku our power, and like I love where that fits currently. Of that would have been super pertinent in all the fights that they were currently in or supposed to be in.
Right.
So it's nice that they injected that, but it was abrupt and kind of weird. And
It was, but even on this like second time viewing it, my head went to, oh, so he's gonna use the spirit bomb.
yeah,
'Cause,
right.
like
That's
in
what I
in the
expected.
previous versions, like he's like hands up, like I need your powers.
Right.
And then they're just everyone's supposed to just like here's my thing. But here it's just like, no, I'm just Super Saiyan,
Here it was. I'm going to punch him once,
and we're gonna go out.
and we're gonna dip.
It's still weird.
He
Not gonna
literally
lie.
hits him once. They jump to the comet, and he uses the instant transportation, and just ends up at Kai's.
It's and
And that's the end of the
somehow
movie.
they're safe. In that split second, he's able to get everyone off the planet into one spaceship. Even though in scenes before, we're just seeing him as like having only enough room for only a certain amount of people, but then contains a whole planet worth of little buds. It's kind of weird,
Yeah, but what like that all happens in like 2 minutes.
right?
Like Broly gets punched, people are saved, movie's over.
Right.
Like what? It was awful. Like I just not expecting it. It was like and like Dragon Ball Z it's got its weird pacing, but usually fast isn't one of them.
True. It definitely does typically, and to the end of a lot of jokes, take a long time to get through things.
I watched Frieza yell for 6 episodes. I'll never get that back.
That's a funny joke. But overall, Billy, what did you think about the movie as a whole? Because you've seen like various other movies that are more modern, like Your Name. How does this fit in your like spectrum of enjoyment
I mean,
and
it's
whatnot?
it's still fun to go to, but it's like when Naruto was making movies every other year. Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of cool filler. That's really all it is.
True.
And it's something that's like it's cool to see because it's usually when they step up in their animation. What's
Right.
surprising is that Dragon Ball at that time is just animated really well.
I was rocking it.
Yeah, like they were just in like a really good rise.
Like,
So
if I remember right, let's see. Let's Google real quick. Broly movie release date. Because if I remember right, that movie.
94.
Shh,
I feel like we looked this up.
I think we did. Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan. No, that's not the right one. I don't.
Is there another one?
It's telling me it's September 15th, 2018.
Oh, well, okay, but the new one is Dragon Ball Super.
But that one's
That
not
one.
even out.
Oh, that one's not out. No, that one's coming. But it may have the same title.
That's true. The Legendary. Dun, 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 dun. No, Fathom, go away. I want that. One day we'll figure out how to do this more efficiently.
One day.
March 6th, 1993. So before
Oh,
either of us were born.
all right.
So if you think about that, like this show and movie series really kind of kicked off like quality of animation. As
Actually, it was
ironic as
really
it
good.
is. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
compare it to the first Naruto movie that I saw, which was the snow one. You know that
oh
one? They have
right.
the
They're
same
like
exact story arc.
they do,
They
don't
have the
they?
same exact thing.
Now that I think about it, yeah, we'll have to go watch that one and go bring that in and talk about that another time.
But what is weird for the Broly movie is that from playing Xenoverse, like
Hmm.
Broly to me was the God Saiyan.
Yeah,
That means nothing to me now.
right.
I don't. I'm missing a lot of information
In
between
the
here and there.
Xenoverse, is he called like the God Saiyan or
Yeah,
something? Like that's his designated
that's his like.
title?
They call him the God
Because I
Saiyan.
know in the movie they call him the legendary Super Saiyan,
Yeah,
like this grand being. But I don't think.
it's Super Saiyan God.
I wonder
It
if the
makes no
I wonder
sense.
if in the Japanese version they actually call him a god. Because maybe that's where
Maybe it
that
was
comes
just
from.
bad translation.
Very well could be. Well, Billy, that's actually going to wrap it up for today's episode of the podcast. If you guys enjoyed this content and want to see a bit more, come back each week as we discuss more anime news topics. Billy, do you have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
No, I think that'll do it for me.
All right. Well, I'm Casey. This is Billy. We're AC Productions, and we'll see you next week.